What's up, everybody? Welcome to Brewed Opinions, Episode 2. We're back, KT. What's going on?
Oh, not much, man. Just enjoying this college football slate we had today.
Yeah, man, we got the Gators on right now, already losing 10-0. It's what happens when you put Mertz in. I don't know what they're doing with Mertz.
Have no idea. I would understand it if we were on the road, at Texas A&M, College Station, but we're at home. The fans know. I get you want to honor the senior player, but Lagway is just too good to not have that dude on the field.
I mean, how far behind? Look, 10-0, almost the end of the first quarter. They're returning. I mean, if they don't score here, how long does it take before Napier, has to, his whole career is going to be tied to Lagway. Like, you
might as well start saving it. You might as well try to start saving it.
This is ridiculous. I mean, after a good Lagway played last week, you're going to come in and you make the decision that Mertz is playing. This is, I don't want to say this is tough schedule, so you could say must win, but it's not like they're going to run the table. They have a gauntlet to go through.
I think they're lucky if they win 2 games this year. And they got 1 out of the way last week, and that was a struggle.
Yeah, well, they played pretty good early, but it was a question mark going into it. I mean, how many times
it was tight a little early?
How many times do you have a question mark going into play Samford? Like
you shouldn't.
You shouldn't. But it's happened before. I mean, the Gators were on a nice little stretch of losing to some subdivision teams there for a minute. Yeah. And it's like, what do we do, dude? Like, you go to Mertz, how do you have to be down 24-0 today before you realize that you may have screwed up?
Yeah. You have to make a decision in game. And if it's not working, you have to go with it. Like, you have to make it. You have to do it. Prove that you at least have a pulse on what's going on, because you don't seem to give a shit about anything going on with the fans. And not that the fans should ever make a decision for you, but I mean, it's plain and obviously like what's going on there, dude.
Yeah, go with the kid. What? I mean, you just what could be? What could happen?
We've been hearing about how great of a recruiter he is. Well, it's time, and we've
already
already seen the evidence. Lagway is good.
Yeah, who were the 2 best quarterbacks coming out? It was Lagway and Raiola, right? The kid from Nebraska.
Yeah.
And that kid's doing just fine.
Yeah.
So
speaking of Nebraska, that's who the Gators should have went and hired. I don't even care when Napier was at Florida. Like, as soon as that dude was available to get, that's the move that we've been talking about, that this administration or the AD at Florida has just not done. Like, the last time they made a bold move was when they went and got Urban.
Hell, they might go back and get Urban again. Why not?
Yeah, I don't know.
All his sanctions are over with, so let's bring him back. And let's have Tebow be the offensive coordinator.
I'm done with Urban Meyer in our lives.
Yeah. Well,
after the last thing with the Jags, dude, I'm done with Urban Meyer.
You didn't have enough of him in Jacksonville? No. I mean, even Shad Khan only had 10 weeks of him, and that was probably 6 weeks too long after his incident in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
But, dude, you know what? As bad as the Gators are, it could be worse. Florida State.
Yeah.
I mean, loss number 3 today against maybe the worst of the 3 teams that they played, Memphis.
What the hell happened?
Dude. I mean, you want to talk about the biggest fall from grace. You go undefeated last year, and you lose your quarterback. Mm-hmm. You don't get voted into the college football playoff as an undefeated team because you lost your quarterback, which in my opinion was bullshit. You don't keep somebody out of the playoff because of their roster.
Right.
You keep them out of the playoff because they didn't earn it. They went undefeated.
Yeah, they earned it.
They should have been there. But it seems like the psyche in Tallahassee has changed like tremendously, and now a devastating 0-3 start to Georgia Tech, Boston College, which Boston College might be better than we think.
Yeah, isn't Billy O'Brien up there now?
They were beating Missouri. I don't know if that game finished yet, but they were beating number 6 Missouri.
Yeah.
So maybe Boston College isn't quite as bad. And then Memphis. If you could have told me that the Florida State Seminoles were going to be 0-3 after week 3, I would have bet you the house on it.
Oh yeah, I know. It's insane. Like as an FSU fan, you must just be like, "What the fuck happened, man? What is going on?" And I guess Jordan Travis, he must have been that important.
Oh,
to what
look
that
who's in,
success
Kenny.
was last year. Oh, he listened.
It's probably just for one series. Lagaway's in. But yeah, I mean, Florida State is a mess. I mean, who can you? If you're Norvell, like, how bad do things have to get? Before they, it's always quick to say, let's get rid of the coach. But outside of last season, I mean, he hasn't blown the doors off the place in Florida State. I mean, he has had his struggles.
Yeah, last year was the year that everyone was like, okay, he is the right guy.
But his first year, they lost to all those subdivision teams in the beginning of the season.
And Jay, like we talk about all the time with like all this new NIL and the transfer portal and all this stuff, as beneficial it is to be able to use the transfer portal, I think also it can hinder your team because you're just bringing in free agents, basically. And you've seen how that works in the NFL where, yeah, sometimes they pay off, but you have no idea what these kids really have as far as a fight behind them or what their thing is. I mean, if you're just going based on, like, talent, yeah, let's get the Lotus roster we can, just like in recruiting. But I think you almost have to go for a certain type of kid and a certain type of – for your mentality and the culture of your organization and of your school. And I think it's blowing up. Like, if you're just having to rely on the transfer portal every year, you never know what team you're really putting out.
And it's like it's all about money now.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And, I mean, Nick Saban said it best, so why he didn't want to coach anymore is when he went into a recruit's living room, they were worried about how much money they were going to be paid versus what kind of man Nick Saban was going to make their son after college.
Yeah.
And that's what it used to be. And he said, the minute I heard that, I knew I was done as a college football coach. And that's so true. And then you have guys that are sticking to their gun, Dabo Sweeney, who refuses to go to the transfer portal, and they are falling down the rankings.
Yeah.
Because they don't have – if you're a kid, you're going to take advantage. You're a player coming out of high school. You may have already been paid in high school, too, on top of it. Mm-hmm. If you're coming out, why are you not going to go take the money and go play for anybody if they're paying you?
Exactly.
I don't care. I mean, if
I think that's why it's such a crazy game in the college like atmosphere now. Is it's like you have no idea if the kid wants to be there or if he's there because of money. Like I know it's always been around, but it's
legal.
out there in the
legal
open
now.
now.
It's legal. We
all
know.
There's legit boosters. Like there's legit sponsorship deal. There's all that is like real now. Mm-hmm. And I think we're just in those navigating waters of like how this is all going to settle, how you use the portal, how you spend your money. Like I think
it's going to ruin college sports forever.
Well, it just officially made them professional.
Minor leagues.
It's the minor leagues.
They get paid a lot more than minor league players. But
well, that's what they're saying. Like now with kids, like I mean, you got a guy who you thought would have came out because they wanted to get paid. They might stay now for 2. So I don't know. Is it going to build things longer? But then if a coach gets fired and the kids leave the school as a fan, it's hard to like. It's just a new way of viewing college football.
It's college sports. I mean, not just. I mean, every sport, golf, baseball, basketball is probably even worse. It's just not in the limelight like college football is. Basketball's been doing this one and done thing for a while. I mean, not necessarily around money, but when I was growing up, you could get behind a team in college basketball because you knew the players for 4 years. I mean, who can't remember those Duke teams with Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner and Cherokee Parks and Grant Hill? Like, you could invest in that team for 4 years, and it kept building over and over. Now, it's so hard for me personally to get into college basketball because I turn on the team. I don't know a soul on there.
No.
I mean, the last team I can remember is that Gators team that had that back-to-back run. You're not going to see that anymore.
You're not going to see it.
In any college sport.
No. It's not going to be that way at all. And the ones who can figure it out, they'll be the ones who are staying on top.
But you know what? They'll figure it out, but it'll be with different players.
Yeah.
Like you might have a dominating team like Alabama, but it's going to be a different roster because these guys are going to get paid. They're going to turn out to the NFL, and if they don't get paid, they're going to hop to someone that's going to pay them.
Yep. Look at Michigan. They graduated like half their team last year.
Yeah.
So then you're like, it's not just 1 or 2 spots you're trying to fill.
Yeah.
You know,
And you don't. I mean, I know there's some gray area in this NIL, but it's not like it's unlimited funds. Like they do have to kind of have. I don't want to call it a salary cap, but there is some kind of limit on how much money you can spend.
Yeah.
At least I think. I hope.
I don't think it's there yet. I think there's a lot of stuff that still has to go.
Like when do they go to a salary cap
that.
or whatever they're going to call it? They can't call it a salary cap, but what are they going? They got to be some kind of cap
At
if
some
you're going to
point.
make this fair.
But the thing is, there's no the NCAA is like the
The
overruling
NCAA is
thing,
a
but they're a
joke.
fucking joke.
They're
dude.
a
Like
joke.
they are a complete.
They're
joke.
the worst governing body I've ever seen in any sport.
I think until like you get to a point where you have like a Roger Goodell basically for college football, like because now you're seeing all these new conferences developing. I mean, we're at the point soon where it's going to just be like the major conferences, right? I mean, like
And that's what it's going. And now they're trying to. I know the news came out this week that they're trying to resurrect the Pac-12. Like all these teams, San Diego State,
that have been
Boise State, they're trying to resurrect because they know that their only automatic bid into this playoff is to be in a major conference. So they're going to try to build the Pac-12 back up to have those 6 power conferences to get the automatic bid. So it's smart on their part. I mean, I don't know who's going to be in that conference. I mean, I heard a bunch of states.
right.
Idaho State, Boise State, San Diego State, Utah State. Like, it's just all those teams that are out west that got left out. Mm-hmm. And, what remains of the old Pac-12, like, you have to create this. These schools have to come together. And, this college football has turned so much into a money game. I mean, this playoff system, I think, is going to be great for the fans. It's going to create storylines. You're going to have a Cinderella team that you never could have before.
Oh, it's going to be awesome.
It's going to be great. We're going to love every minute of it. We're going to care. We're not going to care what it does to the kids. But, as fans, we're going to love it. I mean, so time's going to tell. I think it's all new. College football, as we talked about in the past, college football is a mystery right now because you don't know what this is going to create. You don't know, are we going to see undefeated seasons? Is parity going to exist now because it's spread out? Are you going to have a 2-loss team, a 2-loss season? Is a 2-loss season going to be a good season? I mean, the SEC is ridiculous.
Right.
I mean, if you lose two games, we don't know.
Before it was a death sentence. Now we
don't know. We don't know. We don't know. We'll know maybe in November, but we don't know what's good and what's bad right now. It's just like in the NFL when you're trying to get used to a 17-game season. Like, is 10 wins good anymore? I think it is. I don't know. Yeah. We don't know. We're not used to it yet.
Yeah, we have no idea.
It's baseball. The third wild card team. Is it good? I don't know. We don't know yet. It's only a couple years old. Yeah. Like, does it cause excitement towards the end of the season? I know that's what the league wants. They want the TV ratings. They want to count an extra team. No matter how many teams you have in a playoff, the NCAA basketball tournament proved it. They went from 62 teams. They upped it to 60. So whether you're at 62, 63rd team's going to be pissed. If you're at 4, the 5th team's going to be pissed. Now you're at 12 in college football. The 13th team is going to feel screwed.
And then eventually expand to 14.
And in baseball, the 4th person looking out of the wild card, they're going to be mad. 3 years ago, they weren't even close to the thing.
Yeah, they wouldn't even give a
so
shit.
No matter what
they've been
you
waiting
do
for the season to end so they go on vacation.
No matter what you do, the first team out is always going to be pissed. Whether it's team 63 or team 5 or team 3.
And life's unfair and wah.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to our world. Welcome to everybody's life.
Yeah. I mean, things are going pretty good. But it's now Florida's in a lightning delay. God.
Yeah. This weather fucking has been stupid in Florida, dude.
It's been so ridiculous. Well, maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to get off the field and regroup and go back out with Lagway.
There you go.
Yeah.
And Napier might have just got a little help from the gods there.
Yeah. So it's, this whole playoff thing is going to be cool. I think it's going to be real good moving forward. You're going to have the usual suspects. But I think 5 years from now, there's going to be so much parity in college football. Anybody can win. It's going to be who puts their roster together, who spends their right. You're almost going to have GMs now. You're going to have analytic guys, where your money goes, what you spend it on. Before, you were just recruiting. But
it was
now,
a basic college system. You have an AD who runs the athletic program, but now these football programs are, I mean, I know it's across the board in all college sports, but let's talk football is what we're talking about, and that's the cream of the crop. I mean, college football is the second sport of the USA.
It's where the money is.
It's the second biggest sport next to the NFL.
Yep.
Like in America.
Yeah,
like,
that's where the money is.
Yep.
Yep.
So they are going to have to figure things out, and they probably are going to have new positions on the football squads that are running all the data.
Yeah. You're going to have to pay people to crunch numbers. Never used to be. You used to have your amount of scholarships to give out, and you gave them out. Now you got to deal with millions of dollars.
Just have a couple back alley deals happening.
Well, those were always happening. But now, like, that's the thing. They've always happened, but now they're legal, and now they're documented, and now people know what these kids are making. I mean, what is it? Is Shador Sanders the number one?
I would assume.
NIL player?
I would assume.
I mean, I think I've heard 5 million. I don't know. I don't even know what the numbers are.
But we've seen some cool things, like as far as like the student athletes go, which is awesome, is some of these big players for these organizations who are making that type of money right before the season started, like, you know, especially as the quarterbacks, obviously, who are getting paid top dollar, but they're giving back to their teammates. Like, I saw a couple stories where, like, they're buying, like, the Dre Beat headphones
that's cool.
and providing like all kinds of stuff to, like, especially the guys who are walk-ons and the guys who aren't getting NIL deals. Like, to me, if I'm a draft prospect going into the NFL draft, and you're already, you know, looking at, if you're an NFL GM, are you not looking at that kid as saying, like, I mean, look back to draft day. No one showed up to his birthday party.
If you're Sonny Weaver, are you looking up there? Are you calling your
but
guy up?
Wouldn't that be more of like, oh man, this guy gets it. This kid knows what it means to have a team built. Like, it's not about him. It's about
Kenny. I want to know why none of your teammates showed up to your 21st birthday party.
Exactly. That's the thing, man. You know.
But it's, you know, it's. I think it's going to be great. I mean, I think it's a whole different animal of what NFL teams are going to look for. And I think that's so cool that there's guys out there doing that, helping the young guy, the guy that didn't get the recruiting. It's, you know, what's awesome, what I hear is when baseball players, they go back down into AAA to do rehab. Like, I know when Max Scherzer was on the Mets and he went down to do his AAA rehab,
right,
he would buy the whole clubhouse Ruth Chris dinner, like, to be catered.
That's
He'd
awesome.
get them all, like, iPods and stuff. For a AAA baseball player making $50,000 a year, that's awesome, man. And instead of eating this little deli spread that they're probably throwing out with condiments and stuff, Max is bringing in Ruth Chris Steakhouse, filet mignons for everybody, getting them all, you know, some kind of, like you said, Beats earphones or whatever. But it's cool when you see guys like that. Like Jacob deGrom, man, he just came back last night, dude.
Really?
First start back, and he was nasty.
Was he?
Yep. Tommy John surgery behind him. Look out for that guy.
Yeah. And those guys go all the way down to, like, A-ball to start their rehab sometimes. So imagine if they're doing that for kids right at 19, 20 years old,
making
who are living in
$25,000 a year, living in driving school buses to their games. And you got all of a sudden Scherzer's coming in to throw 3 innings, and you got a Ruth Chris ribeye sitting there, and you got a nice little iPod waiting for you, or whatever. I don't even know. iPod's probably outdated at this point. What is it now? I don't even know.
Your phone?
Yeah,
your fucking telephone.
Yeah. But, like, those stories are cool when those guys start to give back and give those young players a little taste of what their life could be if they work hard.
Yeah, because I mean, especially in baseball, those guys, those seasons are grinds for those guys. They're playing every day
at every level
across the hottest parts of the year, and in the whole United States, like, it gets hot everywhere.
Yeah, in shit stadiums.
Yeah,
paint falling off the walls. You got mascots and drunk people doing freaking between inning games, and I mean, after a while, it's got to just be like, when can I get out of here, man?
Yeah.
You know,
when am I giving up? When am I giving up this dream?
You got guys doing the spin around the bat to get dizzy, and they run after the thing, and it's like, after a while, you got to look at that. You're like, God, when am I getting the call, man? When am I getting the call?
Am I ever getting the call?
Yeah, am I ever? But yeah, dude, I kind of wore my shirt tonight, KT, because my boys had a big win last night in Philadelphia.
Here we go with your Mets. There, this guy goes with his fucking Mets.
Dude, if they didn't have the May and June that they had, they would be demolishing the National League.
I know.
They have fought all the way back to 15 games above 500. that now they're only 6 games behind the Phillies to win the division. They've got the 1-game lead on the wild card. They're 1 game behind the Diamondbacks and a game and a half against the Padres. Like, they could not only move up, but their next couple games, I mean, they have the weekend series with Philly. They've got the Nationals, but then they have 4 more with the Phillies next weekend, then the Braves, then the Brewers. They don't have an easy finish. They're going to have to earn it.
Yeah, which is what you want. This is like and that's why they set the schedules up like that, so that you're playing a lot of your division teams that down the stretch. And the East has got 3 really good teams. We didn't know if the Mets were going to be one, but they're proven to be one.
They've been
2 months ago, like I said in May and June, this guy, I had to walk him off the ledge because I'd call him every day and ask him about how the Mets are, and he's like, I can't even fucking watch these guys. Yeah. It's so bad.
I was done. But dude, they have. Ever since honestly, ever since they had the team meeting with Lindor before the All-Star break, these guys probably got together and said, what the fuck are we doing? Mm-hmm. It's time to turn it around. We're too talented for this. And they have, man. And they added some perfect pieces at the trade. Jesse Winker has been a phenomenal addition. Jeff McNeil's out. Today, they just called up Acuna's brother, so he's now on the active roster.
Nice.
They added I hate to say this, I actually don't mind McNeil not being there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know you said it. Who gives a shit?
Iglesias has been a stick of dynamite for this team this year with his music video, all that stuff, the OMG stuff, all that. But I believe that this is a better team without Jeff McNeil this season. Maybe not long term, because Jeff McNeil, he's fallen off. Ever since he won his batting title, he's fallen off.
And baseball, it's a ebb and flow, like your whole career. Like, there's times when you're super hot, and there's times where you're not playing nearly as well. So you're really happy with this new GM and the direction that he's
I mean, I think Stern's done a great job. Great manager. I think he's put people around him. I think Gibbons, being the bench coach, having that major league managing experience has really brought some nice leadership and experience to help Mendoza because he's such a young coach. Mm-hmm. And I think they really work well together. The pitching staff has, in my opinion, outperformed. I mean, Kodai Senga hasn't even been there. He pitched 6 innings, and then he got hurt again. Yep. He's probably done for the year. But it's okay. They've adapted. Severino has been a gem of a find in free agency. I mean, he has resurrected his career.
Yeah. I know you get excited every time he's going on the mound.
Yeah, right now I mean, Quintana's pitching great. Severino, Minaya has been a super gem. And honestly, I think the MVP of the pitching staff this year is David Peterson. And he started the year in AAA. And he has just come out, and it has been such a fun time to watch them. Lindor is putting up an MVP level.
You're welcome, by the way.
That's right. We gave Rosario, and now he's all over the league. I mean, I think he's in Tampa now or something.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome to let him go to you guys.
Yeah, we paid for it though. Don't get me wrong. $300 million.
I've always loved Lindor. I loved him when he was on the Guardians.
He came in. Oh, Kenny, don't say the Guardians, dude.
Well, that's why I don't care for the team anymore.
It doesn't even sound.
They're not even my team.
It doesn't even sound right, dude.
No, I know.
Yeah,
but
they'll always be the Indians.
They are the
Cleveland Indians.
Yep,
that's what it is.
It's the truth. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, so. When the Mets started off, it was a struggle, but now it's fun. I mean, I'm excited. They're coming down to the end. They're playing the best baseball in the league, in my opinion. I really do. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a fan.
No, I know they are.
I just feel like I wish they didn't put themselves in such a hole early in the season. But how many teams can be, 15, 16 games below 500, and now you're 15 games above 500?
And what I think is the cool story is that this is the teams you want to follow going into the playoffs. They're hot. They're obviously, the Blue Jays had them in a no-hitter through 8 the other night, and I was like, for sure it was going to be done. The next thing I know, the next day I looked at it, and the Mets blew them out of the water.
Can you believe that,
in the 9th inning?
That pitcher for the Blue Jays, Francis, he's had 2 no-hitters this year, both go into the 9th inning, and both of them get broken up by a home run. That's impressive. I mean, Lindor crushed that ball. But then Alvarez hits a 3-run shot. They score 6 runs. They get no hits. Last night against Nola, they went five innings with nothing, and they hit back-to-back 3-1 homers in the 6th inning.
Smashed the Phillies. I saw a tweet the other day,
11-3.
or a thing on X where it was like, he's like, you know how you know you're good when you're hitting multiple 3-run jacks
in the same inning. Yeah, and I think they hit one more later.
Yeah.
So it was 11-3. I think was the final score. But like
this is what the Mets do now. They just hit 3-run jacks.
They hit jacks, man. They're a big team. I mean, Lindor, like I said, Alonso's Alonso. He's going to hit a home run or he's going to strike out. It's one or the other. But like Vientos, I think, has been the surprise player. I mean, he was always one of their top prospects, but you don't quite know if they're going to perform. Like Brett Beatty, he was a top prospect, got up to the majors, absolutely failed. But in order for him, because of him failing, we now have been able to discover Vientos because he got playing time, and he's been a huge contributor to the season. Alvarez, everything you wanted him to be. Everything you wanted him to be. Number one prospect in baseball, everything you wanted him to be. He's a catcher, so he doesn't hit for, catchers don't hit for average, like a big average. But he's got power. He drives one in. He's clutch. He's a great defender.
He's the one calling your game. So he's obviously an awesome defensive catcher, and he's
everything you want your catcher to be.
And they knew what they had in him. So Jay, like obviously you want to try to take over the division in the East, but say they don't overtake the Phillies, the wild card. Like I was looking at the standings the other day, and I mean there's still a lot of competition because the West is strong. I don't think you have to worry about the wild card coming out of the Central.
No, it's not.
I mean there's a team that's right there, kind of with you
Cubs.
guys, but
it's the Cubs,
and I don't think they're strong enough. But you got 3 teams: the Dodgers, the Padres, and the Diamondbacks, right in the West.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks
that are all around where you're at.
Yeah, the Mets had a huge 6-game road trip. They went out and played 3 against the Padres, 3 against the Diamondbacks. They won 6 games, which is what they needed to do on the road. The Diamondbacks
it's impressive on the road.
Yeah, the Diamondbacks are playing the Brewers right now for the first time since the playoffs last year. They haven't played them all year, and now they play them 6 times to finish. That's huge for the Mets. The Diamondbacks have a tough schedule to finish. So do the Mets. It's going to come down to
because the West is good and the East is good.
But there's 3 teams in each of those divisions: the Dodgers, Padres, Diamondbacks, Phillies, Braves, Mets, and then the Central is nothing. I mean,
there's going to be one that comes out of there.
It's the Cardinals, and then the Cubs aren't. It's one of those 6 teams I just said is going to be out. Everybody else is going to be in.
Yeah.
I just hope it's the fucking Braves. I hate the Braves so much.
I hate the Braves.
I can't tell you how much. I may hate the Braves more than I hate the Titans. Yeah. And that's saying a lot.
It says a lot.
Yeah. But it's, I think that this is the crunch time in baseball. This is, everybody says, oh, baseball's slow. I don't like to watch baseball because the games are forever. But the games have sped up. The pitch clock has helped.
It's way different.
But this is when baseball gets fun.
Yeah.
When you've got guys hunting, even for them, the dog days of summer are real. Yeah. Like, they go out every day, July, they travel.
Play 167 fucking games.
And now you're in late September, and this is where the shit matters. And this is where the emotions come out.
The weather's turning up north. It's getting a little bit different. And this is when the real contenders prove who they are. And the Mets seem like they are definitely a real contender.
Yeah. The only thing that scares me about the Mets is they dug their hole so early. Right now, it's almost like every game they play, like they can't afford to lose it.
Right.
Like if they lose a game, they can lose so much ground.
Yeah. Then you're looking to see who else lost in it.
Like last night, the Braves won. The Braves beat the Dodgers, of course. It's like the Braves are playing the Dodgers.
Well, the Braves are supposed to be the favorite. That team's built like.
Yeah, they're dealing with some injuries and stuff. So they're, the Braves are. I'm very envious of that organization and how they built that team. I mean, Atlanta is as big of a Mets fan.
Everybody under contract too, don't they? Isn't it like
as big of a Mets fan as I am? I do have to give credit to the Braves because they truly have built that team through the farm system outside of Olsen. Olsen is the only guy really that they have signed from the outside. I know that they kind of brought Ozuna over, but like a lot of these guys are homegrown, man. And and they let Freddie Freeman walk and they replace him with Olsen. It's like, Jesus Christ, man. Like they don't ever stop. And then they have our Travis d'Arnaud, who we gave up on. And now he's slaying it down there in Atlanta. Like, and he's got a World Series ring because of it. It's like, but that team, Acuna, Like, all these guys are homegrown farm system guys, and you got to hand it to them because they did break their team down to the studs. They got rid of massive contracts in Andrew Jones, and they let all these guys walk, and they committed to building from the farm system, and now they're reaping these benefits. They're dealing with some injuries this year, so they're not quite as strong as they've had in the past. Mm-hmm. But they're not like the Phillies, for instance. I believe the Phillies have kind of bought that team with Bryce Young and JT Realmuto, and not many guys were. The guy that was their farm system, Reese Hoskins, he's in Milwaukee now. So it's like they have really, Turner, like all these guys Philadelphia bought that team. Right. Atlanta grew their team. And in some cases, you can put the Mets in that category. They're kind of a mix. Yeah. They brought them up, but you have people like Lindor, Starling Marte.
You had the big spending spree when Cohen first took over ownership of the team.
And
good for him that actually come into spending money, and it's like, we're finally doing it.
Exactly. They spent the money on the pitching. And it was, they're still paying Scherzer and Verlander $30 million each. How come all my teams pay people that don't even work for the organization anymore? The Gators are paying 4 coaches that don't coach anymore. The Mets are paying Scherzer and Verlander to pitch for other teams. It's like, can't we just we're paying Bobby Bonilla $1 million every year on, what is it, July 1st or whatever? $1 million. Bobby Bonilla. That goes way back to the Bernie Madoff and hiding money, all that stuff. But it's like, I would just so prefer for people to pay players and coaches that are currently helping your organization.
I know.
And so that's why it's like, man, I'm really excited about the Mets. And I think they have to stay the course. They have a tough finish to the season. Every win is going to count, especially against the Phillies. They're up to 6 games back now. Yeah. I remember when they were 19 games back. So it's the division.
Yeah, they look like there was a lost season.
It was
2 months ago. It was a lost season, and I've been just paying attention to the Mets. I don't get to watch them like you do because you have the package, but I do follow them daily because I'm always asking you, man, the Mets are tearing up, and you're like, yeah, it's starting to get a little scary. Like, it's starting to look like we can go do something, and I think you guys can. I think in baseball, it's just like any sport. Like, when you get hot at the right time, that momentum carries you through. And maybe they don't have exactly enough this year to do it, but what a good start to build off of.
I kind of disagree. I think they have it.
Right.
The thing that scares
me. As long as pitching holds up.
The pitching is going to be everything. I love Edwin Diaz. He hasn't quite been the same coming off the injury. Usually when people come off a major injury, they do struggle for that first year.
Of course.
He's been dominant, and he's got lit up.
Yeah.
So
you're hoping he hits stride going into this month.
When you're coming into a close 1-run game and you got to come play a playoff team and you got to shut down their 3, 4, and 5 hitter, that's when your guy needs to be nasty.
Well, that's when you hope those trumpets get his juices flowing and that dude just comes out throwing straight gas and striking mother effers out, dude. Like,
it's been a weird deal when it comes to Diaz this year. The Mets, we've had a lot of injuries. The Senga thing is a mess.
Diaz's injury was a leg injury, and
from the celebration in the WBC,
right?
Jesus.
So that takes time if things
it takes time as a human being just to feel comfortable doing things. So I like where they're at now. They have a tough finish. They gotta just play hard. They gotta just keep stacking wins right now. They've got 80. If you would have told me they would have guaranteed 500, 81 wins last night, 81 and 66.
Yeah.
If you would have told me that they would have gotten to 80 wins this year back in May, I would have been like, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
I would have loved to see their odds to make the playoffs at that time.
I'm sure it would have been total garbage.
Why didn't I bet on that? Man. Dude, it's but the rest of it, it's going to be a good. The Yankees are. Judge on pace again for 62 home runs.
He's unbelievable.
He went like 15 games without a home run, but he hit a grand slam last night. But he plays in the Cracker Jack box. You can pop the ball out to right field.
Yeah, you can sneeze and hit a home run, right?
It's like so many times you watch Yankee games and you see somebody pop it up off the edge of their bat, and all of a sudden it's like 5 rows deep in right field, and you're like, really? That ball went out?
Yeah.
So it's hard to, he's obviously a great player, but his home run numbers could be. Look at when Mickey Mantle and stuff, they played in the old Yankee Stadium. Like it's like 400 plus feet all over the map. Like they wouldn't be doing that today.
Right. No way. Not at all. Yeah. So, when you look at the AL, you obviously got the Guardians leading the Central, and I think
the Twins.
I thought
the Twins are in the wild card spot.
Yeah, the Guardians are playing really well, and the Royals are up there too. Mm-hmm. And then the West doesn't seem like it's. Astros are up top.
Yeah, and, Seattle's kind of disappointed. They had to fire Scott Service, and they've kind of been a disappointment since the All-Star break. Even though the Mets went up there and lost 3 in a row to them, but it's the East. The Orioles are kind of a really solid team.
They're kind of like the Braves. They've built it all through the.
They have. They've got some.
They were bad for a long time, but
when teams go through the process, the Orioles, the Royals, they go through the process and they build their franchise the right way. You're going to reap the benefits when they all get there. Like right now, the Royals with Bobby Witt Jr., who's a fantastic player, and then you've got the Orioles that have Holiday, who's up there now, Montcastle. You've got all these guys, and then you got some veterans like Mullins, and they're certainly a mix. And if you go through the process of building your team through the farm system, and you're patient. You're going to go through the growing pains. You're going to have that close to 100 loss season. Like
the Astros did it, and look what they were able to do. They added cheating to the side of that.
They decided to beat some garbage cans,
but they did build a squad by being that exact process. I think that's what new teams are starting to follow again. Is like
you can't afford
these small markets
sign your teams.
No,
so
not everybody's the Dodgers that can just hand every hot free agent freaking. They're like the old Yankees. The Yankees don't even tend to do that as much anymore.
They don't seem to do that anymore either. Their last big deal was Stanton.
And I think even the Red Sox have left that model because they gave it for a while.
Judge his big deal, but they needed to give him that.
You got to give that guy the deal.
Yeah, but he earned it. He earned it. It's definitely like the end of the baseball season is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, we'll be tuned in.
I'm pumped tonight. The Mets and the Phils. We'll see what happens, man.
Yeah.
Hopefully they can keep stacking another win tonight, get it to 5 games. And it's 6 games or 7 games right now. Get it to 5 games. I feel like if you fight for the division, the wild card will take care of itself. Right. If you come up short in a division, you're going to lock up the wild card, which I think is huge.
Yeah.
So I think focus on the division and the rest will fall into place.
Exactly.
Focus on one game at a time.
Yeah.
Win the game at hand.
Yep. Concentrate on winning series. These 3-game series. We always say in baseball,
win every
series.
Take
2 of 3.
Yep.
If you can
win
take
every
2 of
series.
3 or 4, you're going to be there at the end. Yeah. And then you're not looking at playing in that 1-game play-in. Which those are awesome. Like, it's better than that, but you don't really want to be in that situation if you don't have to be.
You like to be able to set your pitching up for the series, do all that. So it's gonna be a great finish.
I think so.
It's gonna be great.
Yeah, dude. Well, let's talk about what I want to talk about because we got a little game tomorrow at Everbank Field. Oh, I should say Trevor Bank Field. Some new sponsorship that Trevor did with Everbank Stadium, where one day only. The stadium's going to be called Trevor Bank Field. I think they are putting the TR up there. I saw a little commercial for it the other day.
I hope they're not putting too undue pressure on him. I hope he doesn't feel like he's got.
I think he's going to light it the fuck up, dude. I can't wait for tomorrow. And the thing is, they have to. Not that it's a must-win game in second week of the season, but man, 1-1 feels a lot better than 0-2.
Yeah, I know it is a must-win, psyche-wise.
It kind of is. Because you let one get away last week.
Yeah, you have to. They have to come out tomorrow. They have to be the better team. They have to execute. Don't turn the ball over and finish the game. Finish the game and hold on to the football.
And I don't even think it needs to be a close game, dude. I think we need to stomp Cleveland.
Never needs to be a close game.
Well, most games,
our hearts get take a little
most
bit of a
games
break.
come down to 10-point score or whatever. But I really want to see us throttle them. I want to see how pissed off. I want to see this team pissed off tomorrow. I want to see that they prove to the fans, to the NFL, that last week, we beat ourselves, and that we are here this year. There's no more excuses. And I think you saw that this week with like Doug. I haven't seen his demeanor change the way it has for one whole solid week where it's like, I don't know. He just seemed like he meant business this week.
Well, it's time. I've always said it to you, like as our whole fandom of being a Jaguar fan, like you hear these coaches, Jack Del Rio was the boss. We're going to keep getting better. We're going to keep going out there and getting better.
And that's awesome.
You need to win. You need to win. And Shad said it this year. I've invested this money to win now.
Yeah.
And we lost Tyson.
Yeah.
Tyson Campbell on the IR. Buster's going in there to play corner. He stepped in good last year. Is Savage hurt? Is he not playing too? Or
I saw he's
that's
out.
Kind of a big blow.
Actually, they elevated Christian Braswell from the practice squad.
Yeah, I don't like Savage being out. That kind of scares me a little bit. But the offense is healthy, and they need to go put up the points. They need to dominate that broken offensive line just like the Cowboys did, and they need to get to Deshaun Watson. He's got enough to deal with in his personal life, and they need to knock him down, and they need to get to him early, and they need to turn the ball over.
Yep.
That's how you're going to make Monteric Brown successful, making Watson be off schedule.
Exactly.
Make him be uncomfortable, and that's when Buster's going to have a day. Don't put Buster on an island.
Exactly. Yeah. I think the same thing, dude, and I think that, the one thing that Cleveland does have is an awesome defense. I mean, Myles Garrett's a problem.
Yeah, they're going to have to
figure
him out.
Where he's out all day. And I think that's why I don't know. I felt it watching like all the press conferences this week from like Doug and even the coordinators as well. But it's like it just was a different tone. And I think Doug's at the point in this rebuild of the Jaguars that he took over a terrible situation after Urban.
Oh,
like
terrible.
The stories that came out and everything that was, behind closed doors. And Doug said it when he got here. He had to like rebuild the team's psyche. One, being a young team, and two, going through what they went through. So it's like that first year with Doug that we went to the playoffs, I feel like the team learned how to win those games they never seemed to win before. Mm-hmm. Last year, I think they had to learn how to be hunted.
I think last year I don't want to focus on the past, but I think last year the roster wasn't built properly and the
wasn't complete.
And Trevor was clearly hurt.
Oh, yeah.
If you had somebody like I love CJ Beathard, but they had to change the offense. And that's why I think Mac Jones is going to be if Trevor happens to get hurt,
God forbid,
they can run the same offense and they don't miss a beat. And I believe the players have confidence in that too.
Exactly.
And last year, I think roster composition hurt them, and I think it's almost like quicksand.
Yeah. That's what happened to him.
What's up, Shane?
Yeah.
But it's like, I think they kept pressing. Things kept getting worse, and they were in quicksand.
They were.
You mean like spiders on the field?
Shane Taco gives like one of the greatest speeches about being stuck in that quicksand and not knowing how to get out of it. And that's exactly what last season felt like. After going 8-3, it just snowballed so quickly, and it was like everything they tried to fix, it just didn't seem to get out of it. And this year, like after watching week 1, and I know it's week 1, but it's like we touched on it last week with the ETN fumble, but it's like we punch it in there. Like this team needs to learn how to, like, when they are up on a team, to just finish the job.
Don't change what you're doing.
Yeah.
Don't go to prevent defense prevents you from winning. That's the old saying. Keep hammering it. They took the ball out of Trevor's hands. They did.
That's what it felt like.
And they kept running it, and they kept getting stuck in third and long situations. And Anton Harrison did not play a great game. Both tackles, in my opinion, didn't play a great game. Some people say Cam was fine, but both tackles didn't play a good game.
Oh, there was moments. And there's moments in every game. And it's easy to highlight those things and zero in on those things. But I just, like we just said, we need to just come out and we need to learn how to finish teams. Like, just destroy them when you have their, like, put the nail in the coffin, man. Like, we had Miami dead to rights last week, and then 14 points swing.
And then we walk out of Miami with a loss.
And
I think
and
everything was like, it was like a magician just pulled the tablecloth out.
Yeah.
You're just like, what just happened?
Exactly.
I think a lot of it has to do with that. Like, I think that fumble, everybody just couldn't believe that happened because pure domination was happening. And then 80 yards to Tariq the next play, at least make them drive down there and score. But like it just in 5 minutes of real time, in about 40 seconds of game time, that everything changed. Everything changed.
I guess that's what it feels like to follow like a team that's actually good. Because I do believe the Jaguars are a really good team. We've never been used to that because we're always expecting to lose. When we're on that other end of it, we're like, oh, we weren't going to win that game anyway. But now it's like, no, I believe in this team. I believe that they finally have all the pieces in place. The quarterback, the head coach, the coaching staff. I believe in Ryan Nielsen. The defense looked really good last week outside of 2 or 3 plays that were, it's going to happen week 1. It's
what
did
Doug
week
say?
1.
We got to coach to play better.
Yeah, you got to coach to play better. And
boy, did that cause some controversy.
Oh, it did, and it's stupid, but whatever. Like, it is what it is. But I'm excited for tomorrow. I can't wait to see what we do, and I hope it's just destroy the Cleveland Browns, man. I hope we make a statement.
They have to make a statement.
They won't make a blip on the national radar or anything like that.
They just need some confidence because the Monday night game, you got to go up to Buffalo. And Buffalo, obviously,
all of a sudden looks really scary.
Yeah, well, I mean, Josh Allen makes you relevant. I mean, but honestly, he didn't do a whole lot on Thursday night. It was Cook.
Right.
I mean, the defense played really good, and obviously, what happened to Tua? I mean, that's a whole nother topic. KG.
Terrible.
Like what? I mean, what does this guy do for his life and his livelihood after football?
It's only a decision he can make, and he should make it. It's just one of those things. Like, who knows? Like, what's going to happen there, or what?
Yeah, like you have to put things into perspective. I mean, these guys are playing a game. He's already financially taken care of, but what kind of father do you want to be for your kids at the age of 45?
Right.
If you suffer concussion, and I mean, these are 3 concussions that we just know about.
That and
how many concussions?
And how scary they look compared to when other people get concussed, and it's not really like his have all been like
just the one game 2 years ago where he couldn't even.
This one too, walk. He's like shaking and like that's some scary shit, man. I mean, football's football, and it's like I get it. I get it if he comes back and plays. I totally get it. If that's the warrior
it's in their DNA.
Yeah.
Like if he doesn't play, what's he gonna do?
Exactly.
Like. I mean, obviously, he'll probably find a TV job or a coaching job or something. But it's like, what these guys? I mean, like you said, his concussions have visually looked scary,
and that's why it's
like
so
people
prominent.
Get concussions all the time. Like Anton Harrison got a concussion in
training
camp, and you're like, you don't even see it sometimes. You're like, oh, they got a concussion,
and you don't even like think twice about it. Like, oh, he got a concussion, but
yeah. And they're back.
It doesn't register to you.
Yeah,
when you see it,
when you see
like that.
With like 2 years ago when he was visibly falling on the ground, and then Thursday night, you have to, when do you make the decision of your long-term health?
Right.
As far as like I said, being a father, being there for your kids, and being, what's important to you life-wise, Here's the question: what are the Dolphins going to do? Are they going to?
Yeah, because that's.
Are they going to allow? I mean, that team is built for Tua to be the quarterback, not for Skylar Thompson or whatever.
Right.
I mean, it's tough to watch. I mean, you have to sympathize with these guys. I know last week we talked about Dak Prescott and being emotional when he got hurt. I wouldn't say I'm emotional with Tua, but it's like. You feel bad for somebody that's gone through this multiple times, in college, in the NFL. And these are the only concussions that are documented.
Right.
Imagine NFL football and college football. How many concussions do these guys actually get that are undocumented? Because they're maybe grade 1 and they don't physically show anything.
Yeah, they don't even know they have one.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we've all probably had a concussion that we don't know that we've had throughout our life. It's like, how do you don't know what and then you hear these horror stories of these football players dying at young ages, and these retired players dying, junior say these
or having mental
illness, and there's no proof that is connected to CT, whatever that is, but it's very coincidental. And whether it's whether it's documented and if anybody has the answers. I know, the movie with the Will Smith and all that, where the doctor kind of approached it and everything like that. But it's too coincidental for concussions to not affect these guys down the road.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, enough of them have a hard time walking with all their injuries and knee surgeries and things like that. But
it's a gladiator game.
Your brain is different.
Right.
I mean,
I don't know. I look at it in two ways. Like, you feel for the player, but it's a gladiator game, and I do think they all know what they sign up for. And I don't doubt that Tua signs up to go right back out there when he gets it back. And I'm not gonna put any thing on him.
It's his decision. It's his body. I'm sure. I hope that whatever he decides, he has the blessings of his wife, his family, his parents, the people that are closest to him. Don't let the Dolphins influence your decision at all.
And I don't think they will, because Mike McDaniels looked torn up about it again.
You let him decide with his family and the people that are closest to him, and nobody ever needs to doubt what he does.
No.
Whatever decision he makes, that's going to be up to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I truly believe that too, man. It's unfortunate to see, but there's a full day of games tomorrow.
Big injuries. Let's talk about McCaffrey.
Yeah,
IR. 49ers put him on the IR. I picked up Mason.
Oh, the back.
You got to pick up the running back. Yeah. I put a waiver.
Yeah, how much is that going to fuck with people?
I put a waiver in for him and actually won it, and I was like, "Oh man, okay, I'm happy to get that." I mean, I doubt he's going to score 3 touchdowns again, but that. McCaffrey's deal is, I think, a little bit more serious than people are making it out to be.
Well, kind of came out of nowhere, didn't it? And then,
he didn't really do a whole lot in preseason. So I
know, but everything was going into week 1 was he was going to play, and then it's
Well, did you hear the press conference when Mason messed up, and he was like, "When did you know you were going to play?" And he was like, "Friday."
Yeah,
that's breaking major NFL rules. That they knew that McCaffrey wasn't going to play, and they pretended it was a game time decision. He wasn't listed. They have to list that on the injury reports.
Well, yeah, because gambling's affected by that.
Yeah,
fantasy
there's so much thing.
I mean, what your league's being driven on right now? One, the product's amazing, but
gambling.
Sports gambling is everything. So the NFL is no, we want clear-cut evidence of what's happening by Thursday so that there's no... I mean, you might have a guy that's game-time decision, but it needs to be...
Sports betting and fantasy.
Oh, they drive everything.
Runs everything.
Look at us every weekend. Yeah. Either between daily fantasy, however many leagues you're in.
Hard Rock Bet.
Bet, yeah.
It's the injury situation, McCaffrey... who else went on the IR? Well, Jordan Love's a question mark. They're trying to pretend like Jordan Love could play this weekend.
Yeah, and he's got a partially torn meniscus or something. Or did they even come out and say what it was?
I think it's like a meniscus.
But there's all kind of hype coming out of Green Bay that he could go Sunday.
Oh, man. And Puka Nacua,
yep.
IR. Big guys went down.
Yeah,
big guys went down. The Jaguars, they lost Tyson Campbell after signing his deal. It's Raheem Mostert didn't play Thursday night. I mean, these are crucial players, fantasy players.
Keeps you up all week when you're deciding how you're going to run your fantasy.
It goes to show you how important building your depth of your roster is. These guys can get in these 17 game seasons now. These teams are willing to the 49ers are probably okay with McCaffrey going to the IR.
Oh, of course they are.
They're when
you go get healthy, we need you in the second half of the season. We'll be just fine.
We're gonna go 6-2 in those 8 games, and when you come back, we're gonna be unstoppable.
You rest up, bud.
Yeah,
we need you in February. We don't need you right now.
Yeah. Tomorrow's got some good games, man. Yeah, some really good games. We already got the one. I mean, the blowout of the Bills. How about Lagaway's in now, Kenny?
He should be.
Yep. I hope they win now. just to prove how this guy needs to be the guy.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it today.
But yeah, I mean the Jags got the big game. Sunday Night Football is the Texans, right?
Texans Bears.
Oh God, that sounds terrible, right?
It kind of does.
How did that game be Sunday Night Football?
Well, because everything preseason analysis of the Bears was they were one quarterback away, and the number one draft pick went there.
Did you see Caleb Williams?
And if it wasn't for that defense, well, Tennessee didn't do him any favors either because they were god awful.
Caleb Williams was not good last week. And we're going to have to watch that on Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, didn't the defense score like 3 of their touchdowns?
Well, special teams and I think they scored 2 of them, I think. At least 2 of them, I don't know. But, yeah, man, that's – and how about the Jets letting down? Speaking of the 49ers.
That's a tough game to go on the road.
Yeah, but, dude, 40-year-old quarterback. It's
coming off a severe Achilles,
exactly.
right?
What do they expect? What do they expect?
And he didn't play preseason at all.
No.
And I think he wanted to. There's another decision of like, why Salah's fucking...
You hate Salah.
Dude, he's just like what we talk about with Napier.
Yeah.
You can watch him on the sideline and it looks like he has... I'm not saying the guy can't coach defense. He's an amazing defensive coordinator.
Most coordinators are great coordinators. They're not great head coaches.
But ever since he's taken over the Jets, there's just been... And in that market, man, you have to look competent and it just doesn't. And then it's like... Watching the Hard Knocks with the Jets last year, it almost seemed like just because they brought Aaron Rodgers over, his like, I don't have to do shit. Yeah. I'm just going to let Rodgers win everything for us. Yeah. And it's like, no, guy, you still got to coach the team and manage the game.
I mean, the Jets, Rodgers does the whole relax again. It's like, dude, you need to take this serious. Like these young players and these fans that have been living through misery forever, like, they are expecting you to be the savior. So when you lose in a devastating fashion like you did on opening night, if I'm a Jets fan, I'm not relaxing.
No.
I want to see my quarterback perform that is supposed to be going to the Hall of Fame.
He was ripping it early. I mean, he still has zip on the ball.
He does,
everything.
But dude, is he going to be able to hold up for 17 games?
We'll see. I think he will. I like Rodgers, and he's on one of my fantasy teams.
I'm not saying I don't like him.
Right.
I think he's
his
been
father
one of.
time caught
I think
up.
he's exact. That's my question.
Especially coming off.
I like Aaron Rodgers.
Achilles.
I think he's been everything that you want from a quarterback in his career, and he's bucked the system, and people don't like him for that. Everything with the COVID vaccine, all that stuff. But it's like he is has father time caught up to him.
Right.
Does he feel like he
Which
has
is a fair
more,
question.
And does he feel like he has more left in him and he really doesn't?
Right.
He might, in his heart, he might feel like it, but your body just doesn't come back the same at 40 years old from a major surgery like Achilles tendon rupture.
Right.
Like,
well, you saw with Kirk Cousins week 1 too, and he didn't play any preseason.
Yeah. Oh God, don't even get. We talked about the Falcons last week, but that's a big disappointment too.
Right. Exactly.
I mean,
so
there's a lot.
It gets to that point, man. So I'm so excited that the NFL's here, man, and it's like
week 2 tomorrow. We've already got started, but yeah, week 2.
And look at us, we go 1-1 this week. Then we go up to Buffalo and fuck those guys up next Monday night, which is going to be awesome.
One game at a time, KT.
Yeah, look at me. I'm worried about.
KT's talking about what the weather's going to be like in December when we go play. No, man, it's they have to handle their business.
That's the homer in me, dude.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just broken.
Until 4 o'clock tomorrow when I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
We might have to have an emergency.
I can't do this
We might have to have an emergency pod tomorrow after the game if KT's on watch there after it. But I hope the Jaguars rebound. I believe they will. I think they're too good of a team. I think week 2 is when things start to.
This is when you show what you really are. Like this is when you show that you're that good team.
Now there's game film. People have real game film on you. Preseason is vanilla game film. You go off of last year. You go off of what the coordinator does.
Learn what you need to get corrected.
And
a
you
lot
come
of it's
out. Communication, and you could hear it. Like, I don't know if you listened to the interview with Mitch Morse this week. They were talking about communication with the offensive line. Like, it's getting better every day. They haven't played many games together.
And there were spots during the Dolphins game that the offensive line looked really good.
Yeah, they ran the ball well. Mm-hmm. Even on the fumble, it was an 11-yard run.
Yeah.
I mean, they ran the ball well. I think Tank's going to be used a lot more often. I mean, I feel good about tomorrow. I feel good.
I do too.
Yeah.
And you can't ruin Trevor Bank Stadium. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot ruin the Trevor Bank Stadium,
I hope
brother.
This doesn't come back to haunt us, man. I just hope that this doesn't put unneeded pressure on Trevor because he feels that it's on the stadium now.
I think Trevor felt it last week. I thought Trevor played a really good game.
But they weren't playing at Trevor Bank Field.
This is true.
That's what I'm talking about. I hope the Trevor Bank thing doesn't get blown out of proportion.
It won't matter if we win. It will if we lose.
But what, I mean, is it necessary? Do they really have to do that?
Do what?
Put Trevor Bank on the stadium?
The sponsorship, of course, they're going to do it, man.
I don't know. I hope he's a good enough dude where he just doesn't even think about it.
He won't. Yeah. Trevor he's not.
Yeah,
that guy's always like this, man. He just stays even keel, which is why I believe in him so much.
Yeah. Well, KT, week 2 tomorrow. Another episode in the books, man. I want to thank everybody last week for your support on our first week back. Got a lot of positive comments and interactions online, so keep it up. Please subscribe to the podcast if you like what you're hearing. Give us a rating. We appreciate it. We'll come at you every week. Thanks for listening.
What did Jackie Moon say?
ELE, baby. Everybody love everybody. Thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.